Welcome back to the deep dive. So today we're getting into a mechanism that is profound, but also deceptively simple.
It really is.
It's drawn from the work of David R. Hawkins, and we're talking about the technique of letting go, surrender, as a really practical tool to unlock some massive changes.
Mm-hmm. And happiness, health, you name it.
And success.
It's kind of the ultimate internal shortcut. I mean, you might believe that peace or joy is something you have to find outside yourself.
Right, that you have to fight for.
Exactly. But the core idea here is that our innate state joy, love, health, it's always within us. It's not gone. It's just hidden.
Hidden under what, exactly?
Well, he has a great phrase for it, the sludge of non-peace.
Ha! That's vivid.
It is. It's all the unreleased, suppressed negative feelings we've been carrying around for decades. So our mission today is to really unpack the technique for clearing that blockage and look at the pretty surprising clinical evidence that backs this all up.
All right, let's get into the anatomy of how these emotions get stuck in the first place.
Let's do it.
We have to start with an idea that just completely flips the script on a lot of self-help. We think we're victims of our thoughts, but Hawkins says it's the other way around.
Yes. Thoughts are actually created by the emotions.
So one painful feeling, like a deep regret or something, doesn't just ruin your day.
No. It can spin out literally thousands of recurring thoughts.
Yeah.
Over years, even.
And that's the critical point, right? You spend your whole life trying to manage or squash every single negative thought.
You're fighting a battle you can never win. It's an infinite opponent.
But why? Why does the feeling have so much power over the thought?
It comes down to how our brain actually files information. Research has shown that thoughts get filed in our memory banks based on the associated feeling tone, not the factual content.
So it's not filed under bad thing that happened in 2010.
No, it's filed under the energy of shame or fear.
Mm-hmm.
And that feeling, that energy signature, then acts like a trigger for all sorts of related thoughts. That's why dealing with the underlying emotion is just so much more efficient.
Okay, that reframes a lot. So if the feeling is the engine, how do we use this letting go technique to turn it off? It just sounds too easy.
It is simple,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not always easy. It involves being aware of a feeling, say anxiety or anger,
Mm-hmm.
and you just let it come up. You stay present with it, and you let it run its course.
Mm.
And the key is you do this without trying to change it or judge it. You just permit to be there.
Okay, wait. I can hear a listener right now asking, how do I distinguish between staying with the feeling and just, dwelling on it, spiraling?
Excellent question.
Yeah.
And that is the trap. Dwelling involves analysis. It involves the story you tell yourself about the feeling.
Right.
Surrender is purely sensory. You drop the story, and you just observe the sensation in your body, the tightness in your chest maybe, the flutter in your stomach. The moment you drop that mental resistance, the feeling loses its fuel.
Because resistance is what keeps it going.
Exactly. When the resistance stops, the energy just dissipates on its own.
This flies in the face of the idea that we have to express our negative feelings, vent, scream into a pillow, that kind of thing.
Yeah, in this framework, expression is actually counterproductive. It tends to propagate the feeling because you're actively feeding it energy by acting it out.
So venting might feel good for a second.
It's a temporary pressure release, but it only lets out just enough steam so that the rest of the feeling can be successfully suppressed again right back out of your awareness. It just perpetuates the cycle.
It's not a real release.
No. Even in classical psychoanalysis, the goal wasn't just acting out. It was about neutralizing those impulses, channeling that energy into something constructive, love, work, creativity. And surrender is that neutralization process.
So if we're not letting go and we're not channeling this energy, where does all that pressure go? I mean, there's a measurable physiological cost to this, isn't there?
Absolutely. Think of it like holding a beach ball underwater. It takes a huge amount of energy just to keep those suppressed feelings down.
And that drain shows up physically.
It does. It leads to a loss of awareness, creativity, and eventually it can manifest as chronic physical tension, illness, disease.
So what happens when we do let go?
The change is immediate. When you let go of a feeling, all that energy you're using to hold it down is instantly surrendered back to you. We see it in real time. Blood pressure drops, muscles release, pulse stabilizes.
It's an immediate decompression.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where we move from philosophy to some really surprising evidence. You're saying emotions aren't just feelings, they're measurable energy fields.
Yes, energetic vibrations that have a dramatic impact on the body. We can see it with things like Kirlian photography, which captures the body's energy field. That field changes color and size instantly with a shift in emotion.
But the most accessible evidence is probably kinesiology, right? Muscle testing.
Precisely. For anyone who isn't familiar, you hold your arm out, and someone tests its strength against different thoughts. And the finding is so simple, it's profound. You think of something you love, your muscles test strong, no energy loss. Then you think of an unpleasant memory or a negative thought,
Ah.
and you instantly lose about 50% of your muscle strength. Your body's energy system is reacting faster than your conscious mind can even process.
And this leads to that map of consciousness, which puts a number to these energy fields. It's a logarithmic scale, right?
That's right. So it goes from low levels like shame and fear, way up to high levels like love and peace. The critical number is 200, which is the level of courage.
Why is 200 the tipping point?
Below 200, you're in a state that drains life energy from yourself and others. Above 200, you're giving and contributing life energy.
So a higher vibration has a healing effect.
Exactly. And that energy transmits. If your internal state is vibrating at the level of love, it has a measurable uplifting effect on the lower vibrations around you. As you clear your own internal sludge, you just become a channel for these higher states.
Okay, let's apply this to some really specific emotional blocks. Starting with apathy, that feeling of hopelessness that I can't believe. It sounds paralyzing.
It's dangerous because it's a profound lack of life energy. It's energetically very close to death.
So if someone is stuck in I can't, how does surrender even work? It seems like they don't have the energy to surrender.
Here's the key insight. Most I can'ts are not actually I can'ts. They're disguised I won't.
And I won't.
Usually, yeah.
Yeah.
It's covering up an underlying fear of failure or pride, a refusal to risk the ego.
So if I'm thinking I can't apply for that job, it might really be I won't apply because I'm terrified of being rejected.
And just acknowledging that truth, that moves you up the scale. You
Yeah.
jump from apathy, which is a dead end, to fear.
Mm-hmm.
And fear, while it's still low, is a much higher, more motivating energy. Now you have something to work with.
Something you can actively surrender.
Exactly.
Okay, next block. Blame. We see it everywhere. Why do people hold on to resentment so tightly when it's so corrosive?
Because of the payoff, blame gives you something.
Which is what...
You get to be the innocent victim. You get to enjoy self-pity. You get sympathy from others. But the cost is your personal freedom. When you blame someone else, you're giving them all the power.
So letting go here isn't just about the anger. It's surrendering the payoff of being a victim.
Precisely. And to heal the past, the tool is recontextualization, placing that painful event in a new paradigm.
And the ultimate example of that has to be Viktor Frankl.
No question. A psychiatrist who survived the concentration camps. He made the choice to see his horrific suffering not as a punishment, but as an opportunity for inner triumph.
He knew they couldn't take away his choice of attitude.
That was his fundamental freedom. And that choice changes the meaning of everything. It transforms suffering into a catalyst for growth.
Let's talk about desire, because our whole culture tells us that ambition and craving are what you need for success.
Right, the Protestant work ethic. Strive, strive, strive.
But the argument here is that wanting something actually blocks you from getting it. Why is that?
Because the energy of wanting contains the belief that you don't have it. Less than 24 hours later, he gets this sudden impulse to drive into the city. A parking spot opens up right in front of a real estate office. He walks in, and the agent had just listed the one apartment in the whole city that met every single one of those impossible details.
Wow.
The external world just lined up with his internal clearing. The goal manifested through allowing, not through striving.
That leads us perfectly to the law of consciousness. What is held in mind tends to manifest. This means our beliefs, conscious or not, are the direct cause of our outcomes.
It's why the angry person always seems to find infuriating situations.
Or the fearful person attracts frightening experiences.
Your internal program creates a sort of magnetic field that organizes the outer world to match it.
We see this in clinical settings too, right?
Oh, dramatically. Look at the placebo effect. In one study, they injected women with saline, but told them it was a hormone that would start their period early. Over 70% of them developed genuine premenstrual tension, physical symptoms. Their belief created a physical reality.
But the most stunning proof has to be in multiple personality disorder.
Yes, because the body just seems to follow whatever mental program is dominant at the moment. Different personalities in the same body can have different handedness, different brain waves.
Even different allergies or the need for glasses.
Right, an allergy can appear or disappear in an instant. The physical structure literally shifts to match the psychological one.
Which brings us to the personal story of the physician himself. Highly successful, but he was suffering from this incredible list of chronic diseases.
Oh, it was brutal. Severe migraines, diverticulitis, gout, failing vision, just decades of misery, even with therapy and spiritual practice.
And he realized the root cause was what?
An intense, overactive, suppressed will. In his drive for scientific objectivity, he had suppressed all of his feelings for decades. It was a pressure cooker.
What was the turning point?
A life-threatening crisis. The diverticulitis became severe, hemorrhaging, nothing was working. And faced with death, he finally completely surrendered.
What did that look like in that moment of agony?
He stopped fighting the pain. He acknowledged every single sensation, but he refused to give it a label, like diverticulitis. He just let the raw sensations be there, without resistance, for hours.
And the result?
Instantaneous. The bleeding stopped, the cramps vanished, the condition was permanently healed, the physical program just dissolved when the emotional resistance collapsed.
The final piece, his vision, is almost poetic. After healing all this, he was challenged on why he still needed trifocals.
Right. And he realized he was clinging to the fear attached to seeing, the need to categorize and control the world to feel safe. He took off his glasses and started surrendering the fear and the want to see perfectly.
He lived with blurred vision for weeks while doing this.
For 6 weeks, yeah. Just constantly letting go of the anxiety about it. Then one day, in a moment of deep inner peace, his vision just returned. Instantly. Perfectly. His nearsightedness and astigmatism were gone.
It proved the impairment wasn't physical, it was an emotional program.
Exactly. And once that was surrendered, the body just returned to its natural, innate state of perfection.
So after all this, what's the big takeaway for you, the listener?
I think it fundamentally changes how you see yourself. You're not a helpless victim in a chaotic world. We create our own stressful reactions because of the emotional sludge we're holding inside.
And the beauty of that is the power of choice it gives you. You can shift from identifying as the limited body or the fearful ego
To becoming the conscious chooser. By taking responsibility for your inner state, by surrendering the negative feelings, you stop giving those programs the power to run your life.
And that internal shift has profound external consequences. Which brings us to that crabs in a pail metaphor.
As you let go, as you get lighter and freer, you sometimes notice that phenomenon.
Where the other crabs reach up and try to pull down the one who's escaping.
Exactly. But if love attracts love, and clarity attracts clarity, then the energy you radiate really determines your experience.
So the question to mull over is,
What kind of energy are you radiating? Are you emitting the fear and resistance that keeps you in the pail? Or, by doing this inner work, are you radiating an energy that shifts the whole interaction? An energy that determines whether others pull you down, or maybe, just maybe, feel inspired by your rise. That's the true power of letting go.